All right, Henrik Haapalainen joining us. You're back in Finland now, right?
Yeah.
But I think you've already been on the road a little bit since the semifinals.
Actually, we had a training camp with Jelle Host, Victor Hoffer, Janne Koski, Emilia Leppänen, and then there was the weightlifting 101 coach, Eric. But it was in Finland.
Oh, and is he based in Finland?
Eric, you mean?
Yeah.
No, he's from Denmark.
So he traveled to you guys for this one?
Yeah.
Have you done his camps before?
I've been in 2 camps. Like one was maybe 2017, and then I was in the other camp last year, about same time as now.
You said 2017?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, for people who don't know, Weightlifting 101, Eric has been around the sport of CrossFit and specifically weightlifting for a long time in Europe. He's worked with many high-level athletes through the years. He did take some time away, a few years away, really, and then he's just been back on the scene this past, I don't know, 9 or 10 months or something like that, doing camps with different athletes in Europe, some of whom, like you, I didn't know that you did a camp with him. Wow, I guess that's like 7 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I was going back through, your competitive history. And that's right about the time that you started getting into CrossFit, was 2017.
Actually, I was a bit before. I started like 2015 in the start.
And I have a friend up there in Finland, Hannu, and he was running a competition for many years in Finland called the Winter War. You familiar with it?
Yeah, I've been competing twice there, 2016 and then 2017. I won it.
You were the
actually. Yeah, I can show you.
Going to the trophy case? Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool trophy. That's from 2017, you said?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, Hannu and I have been friends for a few years, and he showed me some highlight videos of those competitions. There's still footage from some of them going back to 2013, and then if you get to like the 2019, 2020, there's some really impressive production in terms of lights and smoke and high quality stuff. So it was cool to watch the evolution of a competition like that in Finland. And I thought that you'd competed in it. I was looking at these videos from 2019 and 20. I didn't see you in any of the shots or the podium picture, but were those some of the first competitions that you ever did in CrossFit?
Yeah, I think that was my third competition, but it was like 1 year. I did like 3 competitions during my first year. Yeah.
There's a long history, I would say, of CrossFit in Finland. Obviously, most people will know that Mikko Salo won the games back in 2009, and then Joona Koski started qualifying for the games in 2014. Did you know either of those guys back then?
Yeah. Like I started actually CrossFit like a bit through Mikko Salo, as I saw some article about him, and then Janne Koski was in the picture. Like he was already, I think, winning regionals when I started, and that was like really motivational. And during next year, my second year competing, Janne invited me to Dubai to train with him. So.
And what year was that?
I think it was 2016.
Wow, so he already saw some potential in you back then.
I guess so, yeah.
Ooh. Sweetie Pippi. Winter War was so awesome. Judge there the last year. Friend of mine there from Finland as well. Yeah, so you much like we've heard this from many athletes over the years, you see some fellow countrymen and Mikko and Jonna having some success there, it motivates you a little bit to get started. Did you have any experience with like weightlifting or gymnastics prior to that, or was that really new to you when you walked in a CrossFit gym?
No, I didn't have actually at all. Like that was new, but I had done like a lot of like normal gym training. So like some movements were familiar, like strict dips and some kind of pull-ups, and yeah.
Do you remember the first time you tried to ring muscle up?
Yeah.
How did it go?
I think it took some time, but I was pretty like, how I say it, like stubborn when I trained something, and I might do like stay for a couple hours, 3 hours to try the single movement, and then I got it finally.
Yeah, and I mean, if you got it's every CrossFit coach will tell any athlete this, that if you want to do a muscle up, you have to have the pull-ups and the dips, and obviously you already had some experience there, and that's normally the case. These are great old footage, Patrick. What is this, 2016?
Yeah.
15.
Nice.
Birthday PR clean and jerk, 125 kilograms.
Your birthday's right around the end of the year in December.
Yeah, 28.
Like a Christmas baby or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, so you do a couple of competitions. You get were you surprised when Jonna invited you to Dubai that year to train with him?
Yeah. Like I was really excited because I obviously like looked up to him, so it was really nice. But it wasn't actually best time for him because he was tied with Matt Fraser during the Dubai Fitness Championships, and then he blew up in the final, and he dropped from second to like sixth. And I think that year the prize money was much bigger from like first to sixth.
And I think
so he wasn't.
Is that the workout that they put the bounty on the final as well? The extra like 30,000?
It wasn't that year, but I think that year Janne was there. It was like 3-part final.
Gotcha. Yeah, those were good. I mean, those years in Dubai, 2016, 17, 18, there were a lot of impressive athletes competing there. So were you there on site watching that competition, or did you actually compete at it?
No, I wasn't at that level that year. Like I came like a couple of days after the competition, and then Janne started to train with me.
Nice. And did they already have a broadcast back then for Dubai? Were you able to watch it?
Yeah, they had, but it wasn't like that good. But you can still find the live from YouTube.
So you go there, you train with Jonna. Did you meet any other top level athletes at that time?
I don't think we trained with other top level athletes, but I met like some of the Dubai competitors at the mall or something. Yeah.
And you were sizing them up?
Yeah, I was a bit more like fanboy.
Had you met Björgvin at that point? Because him and Jonna had already been friends, I'm sure.
No, I met him actually in that competition you have there, Swiss Alpine Battle.
Swiss Alpine Battle, nice. Oh yeah, I know some people who've done that one over the years too.
That's Vellner BKG who won that one in 2018.
Yeah. Okay, and so training goes well there, but or you get to train with Jonna, I mean, and then kind of back to the grind from there. For me, as someone who's following the sport of CrossFit a little bit, your name didn't pop up on my radar for a few years after that. And sometimes we see athletes that they just have these breakthroughs and then they're pretty good, but there's a lot of times a lot that goes into getting to that point. So during those years of since that opportunity in 2016, 17, 18, 19, where we internationally especially, nobody's heard the name Henrik Haapalainen at all. Were there times that were you constantly pursuing this sport, or were there times that you maybe were really into it, gave up on it a little bit, or was it kind of steady throughout?
I would say it was like steady throughout, but of course it helped us. I was studying as electrical engineer from, I think it was from 2016 to 2019 or 20. So after that, I've been like full-time athlete. So it has helped to like progress more.
Hey, Sarah, we can address this. Henrik, are you with Jami Tikkanen in terms of training right now in the training plan?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Thanks, Sarah. So that's actually something that becomes a very real question for athletes, especially when they're trying to make it at the top level, is how do you balance the commitment that's required in the gym and obviously out of the gym to keep the body ready to do that with other things going on in your life. And it sounds to me like having that pursuit of your degree as an electrical engineer was probably a good thing during that time to maybe keep a little bit of balance.
Yeah. I think it was good. Like I still like needed quite a lot of time to get like my strength levels up. So like sometimes training a bit less might like benefit your strength levels.
And we see sometimes people that they don't have that balance and they're trying to become so good at this sport so young, and it works for some athletes, it doesn't work for others. But I think specifically with men, the trend has been that it usually takes until you're somewhere between 23 and 26, like you said, to get strong enough to really be relevant in that field. And it was more or less right around that time where you started to pop up on the radar. Do you think that that was physically you were ready, or was it because you'd finished school and therefore were able to put more into the sport?
I think like both matter, but I felt like maybe more like physically ready. But of course, it helped that I got more time to recover and like that.
So when I was going back through your competition history, the first time that I kind of remember hearing about your name was at during the sanctionals years at the Reykjavik Invitational, or I can't remember exactly what it was called, in Iceland. There were some athletes from the US that went over there. BKG got the win. You didn't have a great performance, but for me that seemed like the first time that you might have gone and had an international opportunity to compete against men from around the world. Is that more or less accurate?
Yeah, that was like my first. Yeah, like against like games level at least. But my first foreign competition was French Throwdown in 2017.
Okay. Do you remember any of the athletes that were at that one?
Willie George, Simon Mäntylä, and then a couple other pretty good ones as well.
Yeah, they always have a few good athletes there. You'll run into Willie George later on in your career as well. So first exposure to him. Simon Mäntylä barely missed the semifinals this year after coming back from a pretty tough year personally the year before that, but he's been around for a long time. And look at this, man. You're like a little kid over here. Was that an intimidating thing for you to go to the French Throwdown and do that competition back then?
No, I wouldn't say. I was like so happy just to be in like new competition, and like I actually have a pretty fun story. Like the competition started on Friday, and I flew on Friday from Finland to Paris, and I was like only a couple hours before the event started at the location. Like pretty chill.
Anybody seen this Haapalainen guy? Is he showing up to compete? You're like 10 minutes before your heat. You're like, yeah, I'm here, guys. Let's go. What's the workout?
Yeah.
So by the time you do go to the Reykjavik Invitational in, I guess that was 2019, the winter of 2019, a little bit more prepared. Did you show up a little bit early, have a better game plan for competition?
Yeah, that was a bit like getting more serious that time. I think that was really good competition. I had like good performances, but then I maybe blew up a bit in the end. Like it was a bit finding the right pace and trying to challenge the good guys.
And do you, when you say that, do you mean more like within an individual workout, or was it kind of the whole competition? By the last day, you were getting a little bit maybe fatigued compared to them?
No, I mean like maybe I tried to like challenge them a bit too much and then started too fast sometimes, and like I wasn't yet on that level. But it was nice to see like where I compare against them.
Did you have a coach working with you at that time?
Yeah, I think I was doing with Mikko Salo, the system.
Nice. Did he come to Iceland, or were you just talking to him from the competition?
Just talking, like messaging.
Ludwig Hansen?
Yeah.
Was he there? Yeah, he was there. You beat him by 2 spots, that competition. And Ludwig is for people who don't know, one of the other top level Finnish athletes. You guys have done some training with him. I think you guys did quarterfinals and opened with him this year.
Yeah, and last year and year before that, yeah.
And I got to meet him and watch him compete at the Turku Tomiopaiva. Is that okay? Was my Finnish okay?
Yeah, that's good.
It took me so long to figure out how to say that word last year, but now it kind of just rolls off the tongue. Finnish is not the easiest language.
No.
So we go to Iceland. The next season was, a strange season, as everybody knows. It kind of got cut short, and you didn't get to do any sanctionals that year. My guess is that you maybe had some you were planning to do, but they just didn't end up happening.
No, actually, if I remember right, that was the double open year, was it?
Probably the October and then the February or something, or February then October.
Yeah, and the open that you get the spots for the sanctionals, I think I had to withdraw from that because I got like some pain in my shoulder and I couldn't do the last workout. So I didn't get any competition spots.
Yeah, that's the only year I beat you in the open.
No. Nice.
It's like 100 and it's like 15,000 spots worse than you did in any other year. So clearly makes sense that you withdrew that year. Was that the first time that you'd had kind of an injury that prevented you from competing in CrossFit?
Yeah, and I think it was like it came in the second to last event in the open, and then I saw that I'm not gonna make the competitions, but only with like really good score. And then my shoulder went like really painful, so I skipped the last one.
Was there any serious injury there that required a surgery or anything like that, or was it just kind of taking time off?
Taking time off, yeah.
Because pretty much when you come back from that, the next time that you compete, which was the 2021 Open, it seems like there was a change in Henrik Haapalainen during that time period. Now, you might have gone to Wadapalooza. Did you go to Wadapalooza by then? No.
What year?
So before the 2021,
so.
Yeah, I think before the 2021 Open, there wasn't, like after that Open you withdrew from, there wasn't much. But then when you come to the 2021 Open, you have your best finish in the Open. You have a strong finish, 13th in the Europe quarterfinal, online semifinal, qualify for the games, and now it's been pretty different since then. Do you have an idea of what changed during that maybe 18 months that allowed you to take this next step and become one of the best guys in the world over the last 4 years?
I think like I had some pretty good strength from start of my career, but it was a bit like puzzle to get all the things clicking, and then I got my strength levels like high enough, and actually just before that year I started with the training plan as well.
In like the kind of between the 2020 and 2021 season?
Yeah, I think it was November 2020.
when I talk to athletes and they switch training camps, sometimes they notice that immediately this is a positive fit or a positive change, and sometimes it takes time. Do you know, in that case, was it something where like pretty quickly you fell into step with Yami there, or did it take a little bit of a transition?
Well, at first I did like the training plan, so it wasn't like that much work with Yami, but we messaged like every now and then. But then in the same time, I feel like withdrawing from the Open, and then I didn't have any competitions that like gave me time to work on my weaknesses a bit more.
And during that year when you didn't compete, is that what you were primarily doing? Is that what you were like, you know what, if I'm ever going to make the next step, I have to fix some of these things?
Yeah.
Can you tell us what any of those things were?
I think it was like a lot about like movement efficiency, and then like some strength numbers. I had to squat a lot, like I've been squatting like so much that time, I think. And then like, yeah, basically just that I've been like pretty good level on gymnastics and like machines like quite long time at that point, but yeah.
Yeah, and movement efficiency is something that you'll hear athletes and coaches that are really, really good at this sport talk about. And I think it's almost like it's something that you can tell a young athlete that you need to move better or you need to move more efficiently, but something almost has to click mentally for you to kind of decide that is actually an important. It's almost like the diet. You'll see people that are really good, and that like, well, if you just cleaned up your diet a little bit, it probably would help you out. But until they make that mental click and say, you know what, yes, I want to eat better.
Yeah.
That there's not much that an outside force can necessarily do for them. And so, that's cool that you kind of noticed or made that switch during that time to try to become a more efficient mover. Because a lot of the athletes, if you guys watch competitions, you'll see like he was referring to, in rounds 1 and 2, everybody can do it. But by rounds 3, 4, 5, by minutes 10, 15, 20 in a workout, when there's a repetitive movement pattern, the athletes that are moving best consistently over time, which goes all the way back to the methodology, mechanics, consistency, intensity. Those are the athletes that generally excel in the last third or 2/3 of a workout. Little tangent there, little educational piece, because what you said was I think it was so critical, maybe easy for people to miss. You basically decided to move better, more regularly, and the results speak for themselves since then.
Yeah.
So that year, it's an online semifinal, which some athletes like the online, some people don't. You were I don't think Yona was in your semifinal that year, but you did. Did you remember doing that in 2021 with any other athletes?
You mean the semifinals?
Yeah, I mean, BK was in your.
I did it actually with Jonna and Ludwig because those were the same events.
Oh, so they were in the other one. They were in the other semifinal. I think you were technically in the lowlands. They were in German throwdown, but they did the same workouts, and you still did them with them.
Yeah.
Oh, which is actually kind of better because then you don't have to steal spots from each other.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, quite frankly, you qualified 5th, but there was a huge drop from the top 5 guys down to everybody else. But during that weekend, you don't know that because it's an online competition, so it's different than being in-person competition. Is that the most important online competition that you've ever done?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
And do you remember that weekend at all being particularly stressful, and especially even compared to a live semifinal? There's so much more information that you have at a live semifinal, whereas online.
Yeah, it was stressful, but I don't know, like those quarterfinals and semifinal workouts are like much better for me than the opens. So when the system changed to that, I was like surprisingly confident. Like I remember during that semifinals, like I did some workouts and I think it was like one overhead squat with dumbbell, and I was 14th when they said it in the evening. But the next day when I woke up, I was third. There were so many penalties.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, always you can never celebrate too early when it's online. You
Yeah.
always have this opportunity for penalties. People know this. And so you qualify for the games that year. Do you remember like thinking at that time that you were good enough to compete at the CrossFit Games before you went there?
No, I was pretty confident. I don't know. I like live competitions much more, and I always thought that games workouts are really good for me. But I think the programming went a bit different way when Bosman came. Like Dave's programming was a bit better for me, but I've been trying to modify my training to be good in this era as well.
In the before making it to the games in 2021, did you ever look at old CrossFit Games workouts and try them out?
Yeah, I did some of them.
Do you remember any of the ones that you did? I'm talking old ones.
I think heavy did too. Then some of the like running, assault bike, pulling workout. I don't remember the name.
2-stroke pull.
Yeah, that one.
Lucas Hogberg, I think, won that workout.
Yeah. And then I've done the first cut.
Ooh, that's a nasty workout.
Yeah.
But I think you probably would do well on that workout, though. You're a good runner, really good upper body pulling.
Yeah. I think I did pretty well.
Nice. It's always kind of fun.
It's different to do in like at home gym, man.
Sure.
Games. Yeah.
Still fun to do them. I mean, I did a version of first cut, with weights and reps that I could do, and I remember that being a pretty nasty workout. So then, 2021, Jonna makes the games. You make it to the CrossFit Games. Does he reach out to you for any opportunities leading into the games that year?
We've been like really good friends for a long time, so we've been already training together quite a lot at that time.
And being a rookie, how valuable was it to have such an experienced games athlete as one of your best friends and training partners that year?
I think it was like really, really good team. Like it's just like really nice to train with Jonna, and I think we help each other during the competitions, and of course both of us want to win each other, but it's still like a kind of like team.
That year, the first event took 1 hour and 12 minutes. This is you finishing the workout. How many times prior to that had you done a CrossFit workout that took over 1 hour?
Ooh, not many. Like I have no idea actually.
And so that's like, now you're at the games. How many times had you been to the United States before the games in 2021?
This was my first time.
First time to the US, and you get to go to Madison, Wisconsin. Probably as a young man, if you were thinking about going to the United States, Madison, Wisconsin was not on the list.
Yeah, but I actually went to the Virginia to train with Ben Smith and Laura Horvath.
Yeah, he was at Krypton. That was the year BKG, the whole training plan. They all went to Krypton to do their.
No, that was last year. But on 2021, I was only one from the training plan who was there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Really? So Jonna didn't go with you? You were just...
No, because I went like much earlier than Jonna. I was like 1 month before the games there. Because I knew one coach from the Krypton, and they were like, "Do you want to come here?"
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have like kind of two legends, Joona from Finland, who's a good friend of yours, and Ben Smith, who's, 11 times competitor individual at the CrossFit Games and a games champion. That is a pretty good pedigree of people to have in your corner leaning into your rookie season.
Yeah.
And so you show up there, you actually get off to a really good start that year. You take 9th on that long workout. You take 12th on this is the year that they just called all the workouts events, but I think that was 48 muscle ups in the middle of the workout was event number 2.
Yeah, with the big flip.
With the pig flip. Was that the first time you used a pig?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people that would be jealous of a 12th place finish on the first workout that you ever touched a pig on.
It felt really good moment for me, but then the big came in Capital next year, and I was so slow on that. I don't know what happened. I think the day before we had the 2-part workout in the sun, the run and the church from the blocks. Mm-hmm. I think I might have got a bit not heat stroke, but I was dehydrated.
Maybe dehydrated
for the next day.
Overheated.
Yeah.
Heat exhaustion.
But this.
It was
So this, and then that year, your rookie year, there's a sprint, 550 meter sprint. You take 16th in that. So you got 3 top 16 finishes right out the gate. And then you have your first kind of bad workout. You take a 31st. I think this was the ski rope climb sandbag, maybe?
No, that was my best workout.
Oh, that was the next one. That was event 5 that year. You took 5th.
Yeah.
What was this workout event 4?
What ranking? I think it was the thruster wall walk.
Oh, thruster wall walk. First workout in the Coliseum. Just get crushed by it.
It started with 10 thrusters at 185, and I think I got 3 no reps on my first set. I was like, fuck.
I don't want to do any extra thrusters at 185 anytime in my life if I don't have to.
Me neither.
And the thing about that workout during that event, people were putting chalk everywhere. It was turning into paste. Do you remember it being really hot and humid? And do you remember?
I think they said that the air conditioning was broken or it wasn't on, and I think I've never seen that much sweat on the floor. It was so hard.
Oh well, you should go. You should have been there for the marathon row.
Yeah. That's probably worse. But there was really huge sweat, bumps or what is it?
I remember that event because it was just for some reason I was like, why is it so hot in the Coliseum? And then I could see my skin, my sweat beating up on my arm, and I looked out in the field and athletes were literally covered in chalk, and the women were sweating through. They were just running out there and they're already sweating, and I just remember just the aftermath, all the chalk, and it just became hot, just so hot.
Yeah.
Anytime I talk to athletes that are doing CrossFit competitions, this concept always comes up that in a CrossFit competition, something is not going to go well for you. And whether it's just a bad workout, you fail a lift, there's an unfortunate judging circumstance, you rip your hands, whatever, things happen in competitions. So rookie year, this is the first, you're off to a really good start, and you have this first kind of bad workout. What are some strategies that you have to rebound from a bad workout in a big competition?
Well, I think you need to think, was it bad, just bad movements, bad workout overall for you, or did you do something wrong, or was it like a heat stroke, or was there something else that was affecting the workouts? But I think in the games, you can have a couple bad ones, but you just need to reset it, and then try to do well on the next one. Just try to focus on the next thing.
Is that pretty easy for you to do, to put a workout behind you and just look forward, or are there times where it kind of sits in the back of your head?
I think it's pretty easy, but if you get like multiple bad ones, then you are just like it might get into your head.
The that year, you made it through all the cuts. There were a couple cuts that year. They cut down to the top 20, and they had 15 workouts, which is, I think, tied for the most that they've ever had in 1 year at the CrossFit Games. Maybe there was 1 or 2 other years they also had 15, but that's right at the top limit. And you had some decent performances, 6th place on the 3rd to last workout. But over the whole weekend, do you have a recollection of how well you felt like you were physically prepared for the entire test that was the CrossFit Games that year?
I think I was pretty happy like with my performance there, but there was like some like really big holes, like backboard. I had done like so little of that, and then it came in the competition, and I remember that everybody was like so fast there, and I was like, what? Like it was a big struggle for me.
Well, that's not a bad one to have, pegboard, and I would imagine that a little bit of practice with the skill sets you had, that you were able to get good at the pegboard pretty quick.
Yeah, I think I'm really good in that at the moment. Yeah,
because even if we just look back at, you already mentioned that you have some success with the gymnastics, and you had the 12th place on the muscle up workout, you had the 5th place on the rope climb workout. So you have the upper body pulling capacity. We've seen that in the years since then. And this happens, you go to the games, there's going to be stuff that's different. There's going to be something that's new. How excited were you to get back to training after the games your first year?
I think it was like sometime I was like pretty tired, and I was like, do I start again? Like it's so like long season, and it was still like in my head that it's not easy to qualify there. But then I just went back to training and did some like basic conditioning and basic strength, and like little by little I started to like want to train more, and then actually came Rogue Invitational quite soon. So yeah, like at that moment I was like pretty happy to train again and ready for the season.
Was that how exciting or special was it to get an invite to the Rogue Invitational in 2021?
That was like really cool. Like I've always been watching those competitions like from the YouTube, so it was nice to get to be there by myself.
Did anyone travel with you for that event to Rogue that year?
Yeah, I had my friend who was filming, and then Mikko Solo.
He was there for the Legends?
Yeah, Mikko. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then actually there was Yami and BK as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And were you working with Yami a little bit more closely by this point?
Yeah, I think we started working more like when I qualified to the quarterfinals in 21. So I did like maybe half a year then, or not even that long, like 4 months, the normal programming.
Do you feel grateful for the people that have been, look at all these names of people we've talked about. Yami has been around this sport forever. Mikko, Jonna, Ben Smith. Not everyone gets these types of people so intimately involved in their career. Are you aware of like how cool that is?
Yeah, it's been like great, like yeah. It's been like dream to get to train with those guys, and then suddenly you're with like everybody helping you and training together. Yeah.
I also think it's not just cool that he's been training with them, but I think it also says a lot about those people to recognize someone like him and devote their time to him as well, because there's plenty of people probably in Finland that do CrossFit, and he's the one that's being singled out because they recognize his talent. So it says a lot about them to kind of like accept him as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Actually, let's stay there for a second. How popular is CrossFit in Finland?
I would say it's like quite popular. We have quite many gyms and like pretty good competitions here.
Have you gotten recognition from, newspapers, television stations, etc., for your accomplishments in CrossFit?
Yeah, actually, just yesterday we filmed the like national TV, like the biggest in Finland. But I've been there like I think 2 years ago already, or 1 year ago.
If you just showed up at a CrossFit gym somewhere in Finland, would people in the gym know who you are?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And would they ask for your picture or your autograph or something?
No, quite rarely. Yeah, but sometimes.
Do you do any work with the community in Finland in terms of CrossFit programming for competitions, seminars, stuff like that?
Not that much. Like I've been thinking to do some seminars, and then of course when there's competition quite near, I want to go there and like sometimes maybe speak a couple of words to Mike if they want to hear about something for the season, or like I've been doing like live podcast from the competition sometimes.
Yeah, it's Patrick and I have noticed this a lot, really, I think in the past year or two, that athletes who end up becoming one of the best or the best from their country, at some point in their career, they kind of get to the point where they want to start giving back a little bit, creating opportunities for young people. And I think now, I mean, this is now the 4th CrossFit Games that you've made. We'll talk a little bit more about some of your competition experiences here, but you've got a pretty established pedigree and reputation at this point. So I was just always curious to see where your mind's at with the community around you there.
Yeah. Are you, by the way, coming to Turku this year?
Yes, I'll be there again this year.
I'll be competing.
Oh, okay. Well,
Nice.
that's intimidating for the other people. I'm Henrik, do you play disc golf at all? Frisbee golf?
Yeah. I haven't for a while, but I have my own disc. Yeah.
Last year, Jono wanted to play the day after the competition, but Hanu and I had already had some plans, so it didn't work out. So maybe this year I'll play with him.
Yeah, I'll join you.
If you win, we'll invite you.
Okay, thank you.
So then, you finish up your rookie season, you go to the Rogue Invitational, and then the next year
he goes to Dubai too. So my question, if you don't mind me to ask, Brian, is like, your rookie year, you just did the games, which is very, stressful, but very intimidating. And then you do Rogue, and then you do in another 2 months, you do Dubai. Was that too much, or was that overwhelming at all? Or did you just take that in stride?
Of course, it was a lot of competitions, but it's just, I've been watching those competitions so long, and then when I got invited, I was like, I can't say no. I need to go there. Like, I think it was just so cool to get the invite.
Yeah. Did you do Wadapalooza in that following month too?
No, I had to skip that one because that would have been a bit too much, like every.
Yeah. Like Sarah Cooper says, it's good to get the experience, especially at that level. You go to the games as a rookie, and then, to keep on competing against people at that games level, always good for you. I mean, did you gain valuable information from Rogue and from Dubai about like, hey, I need to change some things?
Yeah,
I learned some things.
Definitely, yeah. Those were like really good places to learn what I need to train, and of course we got good information from the games, but it's just only one competition, so it's nice to see like how you do in a couple more, and then like change the training a bit.
You had pretty different experiences at those two competitions, though. At Rogue Invitational, you were in the bottom 5. At Dubai, you were 6th, but you finished behind Roman, Lazar, Ricky, Jeff Adler, and this nemesis, Willie George of yours.
Yeah.
Do you know? Do you like any thoughts about why Rogue was so tough, and then you had such success in Dubai?
I think the Rogue level was just like really good, and we hadn't trained that much before that. I remember that I took maybe a bit longer break than most of the like veteran games athletes, and then I had like a couple pretty good workouts at Rogue, but for example, I don't know if you remember the Rogue's first workout was the rope climb with the backpack. Yeah. I was leading like a lot, but then I just blew up coming back the ropes.
Yeah, you ended up fading hard in that one.
Yeah, but that was like really good workout for me in the paper, but I went a bit too hot there. And then like not using the good workouts, like doing bad in those, like on that level, you just can't like overall do well then.
Yeah, you definitely have to take advantage of the workouts that are favorable for you.
Yeah, definitely.
But Dubai that year was pretty good. I mean, besides those guys that beat you, there's a lot of other talented athletes in the field, a lot of games veterans in the field, and you had a really good showing there.
Yeah, that was really good competition for me.
And was this, just in a better training cycle, or maybe the workouts were better? Man.
I think the training cycle went like really well for me on that. Like we didn't push too much after Rogue, and I don't know, I felt like maybe I was in a bit better shape than in the Rogue there, and then workouts were pretty nice for me as well.
I think one thing I noticed the difference, because we actually first talked. I'm sure I don't know if you remember this. We first talked at Rogue in the hotel.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and then we saw each other again in Dubai, and it looked like in Dubai you're more relaxed. You look like you're more relaxed. I think didn't you bring your girlfriend with you to Dubai? And yeah, you had like you look like you almost made it like a vacation. You just seem very relaxed and very happy to be there. Whereas Rogue, you seem kind of I won't say, I don't know, maybe you just were not as confident in Rogue, and you look a lot more confident and relaxed. Was that just taking that time off, or was that because you just told yourself I'm going to Rogue, I'm going to Dubai to have fun?
I don't know, actually. Maybe I was a bit more rested from the games at that point, and I got back to training a bit more. Like I remember that the Rogue came quite soon after the games, and
yeah,
I didn't have like that good training before that. I remember that. Yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed the Dubai that year. Maybe I was a bit more relaxed there. Yeah.
And I think at this time it also gave you more time with Yami, because you said you started working with him at quarterfinals, but now you've developed a relationship with him, and he's been there at a lot of live events for you. Did that kind of change as well?
Yeah, of course. Like we had more time to get into like specific training for me, and that must have been had an effect as well.
Yeah. Following year, you get to do a live semifinal, which I think you like the live competitions, like you said. You go to Strength in Depth in the UK, and start off with an event win there. Stay pretty steady throughout. Never really in doubt of making it to the games or not. But Willie George beats you again.
Yeah.
when you see athletes, well, because I want to ask about a mindset thing. When you go to, you're still kind of relatively early in your career. You've made the games once, but this is your first live semifinal. But you've now competed against this guy dating back to 2017, and he's just kind of always a little bit ahead of you. Do you start like making mental notes about things like that and looking at that guy like that's a guy I want to beat?
Like not in the big picture, but I remember saying to Willie that I can start losing to you again. Like it was always like one place in front of me. Like in I don't know how many competitions, but I noticed it. Yeah.
When I was doing the research, I noticed that also. And a couple athletes that I know, sometimes they'll show to a competition and they'll be like, look, obviously I want to win this competition, but I just want to beat that guy because he's gotten the better of me the last 2 times or something like that.
Yeah.
So I know sometimes those things are in the athletes. Like you guys are very aware of your competitors and what's going on as well as your own fitness. So I just thought this kind of a funny one there. But you were winning that competition for a while and then faded on the last event, but really good. And at this point, do you feel like you've kind of established yourself in Europe as a legitimate competitor, or are you still kind of looking to find your way?
I think I got a huge confidence boost from that, like getting the games second time and like with second place finish in the competitions. Like I had been like getting much better in training as well. Like I was pretty confident at the point.
And that weekend, personally for you, I was very confidence building and rewarding for the training that you'd put in. I think Jonna was not feeling his normal self that weekend. He had a tough weekend. He fought right to the end, but he missed it by 2 points of making the games. Was it kind of bittersweet, like to celebrate like that, but see one of your friends come up 2 points short?
Yeah. Oh, it's always like we knew that Jonna had some, like, I don't know, some sickness before competition, and I actually got fever at Saturday night after second event, but it didn't get any worse. It was only like I slept bad and I had some like fever during the night, and then as well Ludwig was coughing and Jonna was, and
yeah, that's the brutal part about the semifinals is that you can't. There's no. Well, that year there was a second chance. Actually, there was the last chance qualifier. And Jonna obviously went there and crushed that, and so he made it back to the games with you.
Yeah.
But going into the games for year 2, did you change a lot from the previous season, or did you feel that I had a pretty good rookie year? I kind of know what needs to be done, and I'm going to keep it the same.
I think we changed quite a lot the programming. Like Jami always tries to find new, better ways to train. We did a bit more of my weaknesses, but like overall the structure was pretty similar, I think.
Did you still end up coming to the States a month early that year?
No, this was actually a year that I came a bit later, maybe 2 weeks before, 2.5 weeks.
How do you make that decision about when you're going to come relative to the start of big competition?
Well, it depends a bit like who's coming with me, and then like, do I feel like I need to go earlier? And is there like a good place to go? Like I wouldn't like to go by myself like 1 month before. But then if I have some friends like Jonna or something, I can do that.
Gotcha. Have you already made plans for this year of when you're going to come over?
Yeah, I think we're going to go with BK and Jami like a couple of weeks before the games. And then be maybe in Dallas or Fort Worth for a week and then go to like Games Hotel.
Nice. So you make the games in 2021, you make the games in 2022, in 2023. Well, and then you have the games in 2022. It wasn't a bad year at the games for you, but you had a worse finish than the first year. And Was that surprising to you?
Yeah, I was feeling like really good in training, but then I think I had some good events. Like it started quite okay for me, but then I don't know if it was the heat. We missed our rest day because I think that was the year we missed the rest day because there was lightning in the first day, and then the running jerk event was on the rest day, and it was like super hot day. I did really well. That was actually my better like workout, and then I might have got maybe dehydrated and couldn't like recover fully on the second day or the next day.
Yeah, and then you had you had just a string of finishes kind of in the 20s. The Capital was in there.
Yeah.
Which you said was a kind of a surprising workout for you, up and over, that I would usually have thought was going to be a good workout for you on paper. Was not a great workout with the muscle ups and the jumping.
Yeah, I was like so dead when Capital went bad. I dropped the worst heat and I got like less rest than the other hits, and I almost couldn't like warm up to that event. I was like so dead.
And that we were talking with Paige Semenza yesterday, and that happened to a lot of athletes, that the Capital just crushed them to the point where they couldn't perform. There was not a lot of turnaround before that workout. And so I think a lot of athletes had a really tough time with that one.
Yeah, I was on like okay time. I couldn't lunge because my legs were cramping so much. I just couldn't like move. And then people were passing me on the last lunge. Like it wasn't because I can't do lunges, but I just like yeah.
The body was done for that movement at that time.
Yeah.
And I think in general, people sometimes they don't credit how hard this sport is. Like it's any one of the workouts that you guys are doing at a semifinal, at the games, road, whatever, the caliber of athletes, the intensity of the workouts, the challenge of the movements, like we know they're hard, but to go out there and line up against 10 or 20 other guys that are also putting everything they have into that, knowing that these margins are small, these weights are heavy, these, whatever, it's like, and the body, the body's amazing, but it also has a limit. And, you guys are pushing the limits in these competitions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you like looking at pictures like this one?
Do you like
So that year, once again, different format, but you make it through all the cuts. So you get to do the entire competition. I think they had, again, 14 workouts that year. And, the different experience for you. Now that you have 2 years under your belt, when you go back for an off season, when you go back for a, to replan with Yami or your coaches or your team or whatever, has the mindset changed at all in terms of what the plan is, what the goals are, now that you feel more confident, more established, and you had a year that was different experience than your first year?
Yeah, like I've been like trying to push to that top 10 spot. That's been like my goal for a while, and we learned a lot about the 22 year and like what to do differently. And I think the biggest mistake was just the hydration. Like I didn't take enough salt with and then all the liquid didn't like how you say, just passes through if you don't take salt enough. Yeah.
And then the 2 years since then, you've been really good at the semifinals. They combined Europe. You have one semifinal in Europe. You were second place last year. You were third place this year. Some people don't recognize you the same as a Jona Koski, Lazar Jukic, BKG, who have these multiple top 10 finishes at the games. But in these European semifinals, you're beating those guys or really close to them And have you kind of taken note of this, that like, man, at this style of competition, I'm one of the best in Europe, and at the games I haven't been able to get to that point yet, and think about what maybe the difference is for you?
Yeah, I think it's been a bit more like I haven't sucked at the games. Like I might have beat those same guys in the games. Like if you go head to head, I might beat those guys in more workouts than they beat me. But I just need to get better at what I'm good at, and then not suck that much in the bad workouts. Like, but I think the biggest thing is to be like really good in what I can be. Like get the really top spots from the workouts.
So, a lot of you did have the 5th place finish that rookie year, but a lot of your other good finishes are kind of around 10th to 15th. And you want to push more into some top 10, maybe some top 5 finishes at the games. Yeah,
definitely. Like in the first year, it was a bit easier because I was in the first heat for a couple of days. And that now past 2 years, I've been in the second to last heat. And it's when I had like good workout, like for example, last year, the interval one, where you had to go there and back. Like I won my heat quite a lot, but then everybody saw how fast I went to the first interval, and then everybody beat me by some seconds. And I ended up being like, I don't know, let's say like 10th, but there was like so many guys in 1 second in front of me.
Yeah, I think within like 6-7 seconds, you could have been all the way up to 4th or something like that.
Yeah, like that's not even the like best workout to say because there's so small margins. But if you look the Helena workout, like there was so many guys in front of me in just like 2 seconds.
Yep.
Like I was a bit like I took the worst spot there.
Yeah, you're talking like several guys within 2 or 3 seconds of each other. Man.
Yeah, and then if I would have been in the first hit, I would like to think I could have beat those guys, but never know.
And obviously these small points, these small margins, they add up over the competition. That last year you end up getting cut from the games for the first time, so you didn't get to compete on Sunday. I'm guessing you were not happy about that.
No. Like I was close to get to the top 20. I think I was 21st before the total event, the clean and jerk snaps.
Yep.
And then there was me, Nick Matthew, Samuel Corner, and Moritz Feebeck that were like battling to get the last spot, to get to the last day. And I was leading of us. And then I had to beat Samuel or Nick. And Nick took like really big lifts. I was like, okay, I can't beat him. But then Samuel was lifting before me, and I took actually pretty good lifts. But then my last lift, I saw that he put like so much weight on the clean and jerk, and I had to overlift him because he took more in the snatch. And then I had to try my PR in the clean and jerk, 167 kgs, and my PR is 166. But he ended up failing it, but I didn't have time to take off like 7 kilos. That would have been enough.
Yeah. Wow. Like that's why I like doing this, because these little details are things that in the context of a weekend at the CrossFit Games, we don't know. But that was like a very intentional decision by you.
Yeah, because I had to take 167 to beat him, but he failed, and I was next in the lifting, so there was maybe 20 seconds to change the weight and lift. So I was like, I can't do that. I need to just lift this. And then I missed the jerk by a little.
So, I mean, obviously, how much of that do you lean on your engineering background? Like, are you doing all these calculations in your head, or are you looking, some athletes had numbers written down on their arm. Some were looking up at their coaches. I mean, how were you processing all of that so quickly?
I'm pretty good in math, so I always like count what they took, and I knew I was always knowing what I need to take.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was like risk I had to take, but then it of course annoys me later because much less would have been enough, but I couldn't know it. Yeah.
And I almost wonder if he had hit the lift, if you would have hit the lift. You know what I mean? Like the mentality.
Yeah.
Because you're like gearing up. You're like, okay, I have to hit a PR to stay in this competition. Let's go. And if he hits it, then you're just like, you're in that same mindset. Like the adrenaline's pumping. I have to do this now or never. But he misses it, and then now you're thinking these other things. Oh wait, I can actually do less. I don't know. And so maybe you're not as committed to that lift as you would have been if he had hit it.
Yeah, could be.
But that's either way. I mean, it's again, it speaks to just the overall awareness that you have of the competition, where you're in the points, who's close by, and these decisions that you're making, knowing that like it's life or death in terms of being able to survive to the next cut and get an opportunity to compete on Sunday. That's why I like doing these conversations, man, to just hear these little insights that we can't find otherwise. So did you watch the CrossFit Games on Sunday last year from the hotel? Did you come on site?
I came on site. Like I wanted to see Jonne compete, and then there was one Finnish team. So
CrossFit Portti.
Yeah.
Do you know those guys well?
Yeah, I know.
I like them a lot. Some of them were at Turku last year. Mirka was competing, and I've spoke to those guys a couple times over the years. I didn't know if they'd compete again this year, but they did. They decided to run it back one more time, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Was that the last for them? But yeah.
So now 3 years at the games, you go through the 2024 season, you show up to the semifinal in Europe. At this point, is it almost like a reunion for some of the top guys there? Like when you're coming back after the 23, you had this great experience in Berlin. You see Jella, you see Lazar, you see BK, Jonna, everyone's kind of together. And do you feel like you're a part of that group and it's like a fun environment prior to the competition?
Yeah, there's like really nice guys, and it's exciting to see them in the semifinals every year.
And with, as many qualifying spots as there are, 10 spots or so each year over there, are you coming there just hoping to get one of those 10 spots, or do you have different goals at a semifinal for yourself?
I think I've been actually like past 2 years, like going there to win it. Like I really wanted to win it. Like I think I'm pretty good in that competition every year. I think I had a possibility to win this year. I like the events, but Lazar was just in better shape.
Well, when you look at the workouts that you did compared to him, I think you were better on 5 of the 6 of them overall. He didn't win any events. You had a win. They had a 4th. You had a 5th. You guys both had an 8th. You had a 7th to his 8th. And then there was the snatch workout where you took a 21st, and that was really the only workout that took you out of potentially winning that thing.
Yeah, but that was a bit like calculated, because he won me in the handstand walk, and Jelle won me as well. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna win the last one, but those guys are good in that one as well. Like I had to take a risk to beat them in the snatch. I needed to get some points, but then I went a bit too fast in the last bar, and that dropped me too much.
So it was a calculated risk.
Yeah.
And do you remember if you had hit the last lifts the way that you were taking the risk to do, how well you would have done?
I don't think I would have beaten Lazar, but I might have been second, I think.
Oh, overall.
Yeah.
And then you said you knew you were going to win the final.
Yeah, but even in the snatch, like Jelle felt as well lift, like it's hard to say like what his time would have been. Like I think those guys did well, and it was pretty tight with us during the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And the three of you were, kind of clear of the rest of the field. Then there was Anyol, and then another big drop after that. What was this moment like?
Maybe my favorite competition moment.
I mean,
yeah.
Obviously I was there. I was watching it. I get goosebumps watching it back because the setting for it in each heat of the men leading up to this, people had just crumbled with these dumbbells. Someone has been getting close and failing. Some guys have had to take many breaks. And I think that the impression overall that the crowd was getting is like, man, those dumbbells are heavy, even for these superhuman guys. And then you just do this, and the crowd loved it.
Yeah, I actually heard from Ludwig and some athletes that don't try to go unbroken because the last lunge is so hard. I was like, nah, I'm doing it. It felt so good for me. I knew this was gonna be really good for me.
Do you like looking at a workout and knowing that you're going to beat everyone in the field? What is that feeling like? It probably doesn't happen that often. So when you get a workout like that, and you're standing there on the start line, what are you thinking to yourself?
I actually had other ones in the semis this year as well, but there were just better guys. I didn't do as well as I thought in some, but in this one, there was Luca and somebody was behind me in the standings overall, and they were they're gonna drop me from third. I was like, no. I was pretty happy what was the last event. I was like, yeah, let's see. And then I just sprinted the bike quite fast. I knew it was a bit risky after 5 events, but I knew if I get to the dumbbells first, I'm gonna win it.
And is it with those dumbbell lunges? Do you think it's your grip that's in your favor, or just the leg strength, or do you need both?
I would say both. I actually had a bit pain in my knee before semifinals, so I didn't do that complete workout because when it hit the ground, it was a bit sore. So, but I think lunges are a really good movement for me, and then all the grip stuff as well.
When at what point when you crossed that finish line did you not feel the weight of those dumbbells, or did you still feel it, or were you feeling more of the crowd, or did you feel the weight?
I don't know. I think the lunges didn't get that heavy for me. It just maybe it was the moment that everybody was cheering so hard, and last workout I knew I'm making the podium again and get into the games, so I was pretty hyped.
And it almost seemed like, I don't know if you saw it, but I think you started a trend. Did you see the Africa semifinal at all?
I didn't watch the live, but yeah, somebody sent me the link from that.
Yeah, from Rouen
thing. Yeah.
I'd like to see your opinion. Since you started this trend, do you think you did it better than he did?
Yeah, I think I was the OG. So
yeah, we get it. But it must be cool to see something like that. I mean, for you to do something like that and then someone else kind of do the same thing, and setting a trend. But
yeah, of course it's fun.
Yeah, and I mean you had that whole crowd there too, and I can only imagine it.
We have a few questions from some people that we've been saving here, Henrik. So we're going to ask you about these. Friend from Sweden are giving us an insight that you're maybe amazing at triple unders.
Yeah. I was competing in this Finnish competition last year. No, 2 years ago. And there was triple unders in one event. But day before the competition, I practiced them a bit, and I got my soleus, it's part of the calf. I think it got like pulled or little strain there. And then during the competition, it got pretty painful. And then when I did the triple unders, I felt a little pop there, like maybe one muscle fiber broke or something. And I was like, oh shit, was it my Achilles? But it was only like one string from the muscle. But I couldn't jump with that anymore because it was so like rock hard. And then I ended up doing with one leg triple unders. And I won the event.
And that was before Roman did that at the games last year. So OG again.
Yeah,
Henrik.
He took it from me.
Now, last week while you were at the camp over there, you guys had a little bit of fun. You called in to kill Taylor, and Yellow took him down on that workout. Were you tempted to participate at all?
No. We had a like pretty hard team workout before that, and I wasn't like planning to do that. Of course, we were like, who's gonna do it? Like Jon, Jelle, Victor, and me. Everybody was like, should we go like rock, paper, scissors? Who goes? But then I think Jelle was most like, he wanted to do it most.
Do you think he wanted to do it most because he knew he could win the workout? It was fun to beat Taylor, or that he wanted to? He was feeling the best of you guys.
I think he liked the workout and wanted to beat Taylor, but me and Jonne beat Victor and Jelle in workout, so I don't know if he felt the best.
And in the workout earlier, you mean, that you guys had done there?
Yeah.
Plus a little bit of money for him, not so bad.
Yeah, he did really well. Like, that was fun.
And there's a lot of people that watch our show that are big fans of Sevan's show and what those guys are doing. Do you think that we'll ever see you call in to kill Taylor to take down one of those prize purses?
I don't know if they let us anymore.
Oh,
they don't want like games at least. I don't know.
Well, if the opportunity presents itself, maybe we'll see you in there. Yeah. I know that it was really cool that you guys did that. I think obviously it's fun when there are some relatively unknown guys that show up and they can have a chance or do pretty well for a while. But I don't know if they were expecting the four of you guys to call in like that, and I think it was pretty fun.
How did you guys? I mean, when did you guys hear about Kill Taylor? And when did you find out about those contests or those challenges?
I actually saw the first weeks there was some rope line kettlebell clean and jerk. I saw it in the Instagram. That would have been actually really good for me, but I was doing the semifinals prep and didn't want to do those that time. But I think Jelle was, maybe he followed that channel on YouTube or something, because we were doing our cool down and then he saw that it started and he was like, let's go. Yeah.
CJ, do you think there's something about the culture in Scandinavia, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, maybe, that is particularly transferable or relatable to CrossFit? And this is not maybe even it could be something from the way you guys are raised, or a mental part of just being from that part of the world. Interesting question.
Well, of course.
I think fitness just takes a priority there. You just don't see that many fat people and out of shape people in Scandinavian countries. Not saying that there isn't, but I don't know. But obviously, is Henrik, I mean, you can talk on that.
Yeah, I can agree to that. And I think, like, especially in like Norway, they have really good background to all the endurance sports. And in Finland as well, we do a lot of skiing and running during the middle school, and like that might affect the like people being in pretty good shape. But then I think like Finnish people are a bit known about sisu and like resilience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sisu.
Mhm.
Am I supposed to know what that is?
It means like you're resilient and like just tough. Don't give up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right.
And all right, so we're getting, so now obviously the next step is the CrossFit Games this year, and fourth year in a row doing it, which is pretty cool. But you get to go to a new location. Obviously, you've been in Texas before for the Rogue Invitational. Are you excited to have a chance to do a CrossFit Games in a new venue?
Yeah, that's really nice. Like, of course, it's a bit interesting. Like, do we have how many events outside? Because I think it's like pretty hot. but the venue looks really nice. The Dix Arena.
Dickey's Arena. Yeah, it's supposed to be super versatile. I think there's a lot of potential for some creativity there, but every year the CrossFit Games has its own unique kind of flavor and flair to it. So this will be a good opportunity. I was listening to something Adrian Bosman was saying the other day, and I've kind of noticed this throughout the year. I've kind of sensed this or felt this, but he said that he almost feels like he and Dave Castro are working better collectively than they ever have. And that to me that's probably a good thing, in terms of programming. You have two very experienced, different styles of minds that are blending their capacity and experiences together. So I'm pretty hopeful for the games this year. New venue, it's always exciting. Obviously a great group of athletes competing there. Any last thoughts that you want to leave us with about what you're looking forward to this year for year number 4?
Well, I'm expecting this to be my best year till now. I'm feeling really good with the training. Like, we're trying a bit new things, and I think those have worked really well for me.
Well, Lynn is banking on you for a couple Heat 1 events, so she's looking for you to have some of those top 5 finishes maybe this year. Love that.
I have a couple things I wanted to ask you, Henrik, before we let you go. You've obviously, you've been sponsored by Nike for a while now. And it seems like, I think most people growing up in sports, they wore Nike. It seems like you wore Nike before you were ever sponsored by them. How much does that mean to have, like, that you're a Nike sponsored athlete? Do you like that? Was that always a goal of yours? And what type of, and how much does that mean to you?
Well, it means a lot. Like I've been some time with them. Like, I got some apparel from them, but this year I signed like a real deal with them. So it's a dream come true. Like, that's the like best brand I can think of. Like, I've been always wanted to be a Nike athlete, and it feels really good to be it one now.
And another thing I wanted to ask you is, when we first met, one of the things you told me about your background is that you're an avid skateboarder. Do you still get on the board every now and then? Do you do some tricks here and there, or you just kind of just retired from getting on the board?
Oh, wait a second. I can show my board.
He's gonna do a flip trick.
I'm not gonna do a trick here, but
yeah. Oh wow. What kind of board is that?
I don't actually remember. It's a bit worn out, so I can't see.
Yeah.
It's pretty old. I haven't been boarding for many years.
But still keep it close. So there's clearly something important to you.
Yeah, I like to do some tricks every now and then, but like, I think last time I did was maybe last year.
Yeah. And then I think that's my last question. I think I heard somewhere that you've kind of been doing some martial arts. Is that still? Are you still doing that or experimenting some of the martial arts?
No, I actually haven't done any martial arts. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know where I heard that from then, but yeah, that's it. That's all I had. But it's really cool that that you still have the board around. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Henrik, thank you for taking the time. I know it was kind of a last minute to schedule this, but it was great to catch up with you, learn a little bit about your history, some of the insights into the way that you've developed as an athlete, mentally, physically. And I love that. It's great. We'll get to see you compete twice this summer. First at the CrossFit Games down in Texas. So we'll be excited to see you there and see if you can make good on your proclamation that for this to be your best year, you have to improve and finish inside the top 18. Try to see if you can challenge for that top 10. You definitely have some competitions to point to say that the potential is there. So I think that it's going to be exciting to see what year 4 will bring. And then Turku Tuomiopäivä, that will be right at the end of August, beginning of September, from Turku, Finland. I'll be out there again this year. It's awesome that you'll be competing. I know there'll be some other top athletes from the space. Oh yeah, and don't worry about this. We do a strength of field system, and clearly, if there's better athletes in the field, it's the strength of that field is better, and so there's more points available for other athletes to potentially earn if they can do something notable against you. So that'll be fun to see you compete there in your home country as well. And maybe we'll play a little bit of disc golf if we get a chance.
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot for inviting me. And remember to rank me high on the games. Like stuff.
All right. We'll keep that in mind. All right, Henrik. Great to see you. Good luck with the training. We'll see you in a couple months.
Yeah, see you.
Henrik Haapalainen, one of the greats from Finland there. And we're going to keep the interviews coming this week. We've been trying to schedule as much as we can before we get on the road for some more competitions. So we will have tomorrow's just going to be a little check-in. We'll do some updates on our world tour. Bella Martin's going to come on the show. I think I'm actually going to drop a little Q&A for her. So if you guys want to submit some questions about her experience at semifinals this year, what she's up to, we don't always get a chance to have her on, but we love having her on. And then we got Harry Lightfoot and Amy Kringle to round out the week on Thursday and Friday, respectively. So we get a little UK love from two very fun individuals over there. And then we've got some stuff lined up next week. We'll have a few of the Aussies, Georgia Pryor and Peter Ellis. On Sunday night, we're going to catch up with Christoph Horvath, BKG, Victor Hofer, and Yella Hoste all next week prior to Fittest of South Carolina. So we'll keep you guys informed of what's going on, but appreciate the support. Oh, my goodness, dude.
Yeah.
I've been training hard the last 2 days. I tested out 2 workouts for Norway competition, Norwegian Throwdown that I've programming for. So I did 2 partner workouts last night, and then I went and trained with Taylor and Bryson this morning, and Lizzie was there, and immediately came home and put the Relief on the low back there. Getting back into it, but grateful to have a HGR in the corner.
Speaking of Taylor, how about that? How about what Hiller put out? How amazing!
Oh,
was
yesterday.
That? Yeah,
that was great. I mean, it was good.
Awesome.
I mean, it's fun. He's a master at that stuff. He'll pick and choose and bring these things together and make a little narrative. It was like you said I think you responded on behalf of B.Friendly that's a great trailer for Kill Taylor, which is a super entertaining show. Very fun. I think it's been great for the community. People have obviously been loving it. Taylor's putting himself out there. It's unique. It's different. I mean, what was I think Augustus said earlier, can we get some unfriendly conversations? So you know where to go for the unfriendly conversation. But it's like, it's a totally different environment. I was actually talking with those guys today, and they're like, yeah, someone called in and we asked if they're like excited to beat Taylor, and they're like, I don't know. And they're like, we don't want guys like that. We want you to call in with bravado, with aggression, with trash talking, and that's what they built it as before even the first episode. So they've been true to who they are. But
yeah, they feed off of that, and I think that's why I tune in. That's why a lot of people tune in. They see one, not only beat Taylor, but the trash talking, the good natured fun. You know what you're getting. It's just like when you show up to a comedy. There are some people that are turned off by it, but it's not for everyone. Just like how there's plenty of things out there that you can choose from. But no, I thought that was really funny because I made that comment on behalf of B.Friendly, and it's got so many likes from it. So so that's I mean, it's funny. It was great. I mean, what a twist. What a twist. But bravo to Hiller on that one. That was pretty cool. And yeah, just the Taylor stuff by itself is just great too. But sorry. But yeah, busy week this week, and we have a bunch of shows scheduled next week, and then the week after that we're going right into the reps ahead, but we're also going to have a couple other interviews on. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, we got a lot of cool stuff lined.
Yes, they certainly are not, but no, Henrik's a cool dude. I was telling Patrick before the show, I haven't had a ton of opportunity to really talk to him and get to know him. So obviously to spend 90 minutes with him there, pretty cool. Learn a little bit about his background and his development in the sport. So grateful that he could come on and do it.
Yeah, I think that someone said it earlier too. What was it? Something about the deep dives that they're really here. I love these. CJ, I love these deep dive athlete interviews. They're like the depositions. Brian would make an excellent litigator. Keep them coming. Yeah, Brian is one of the best at doing it. I mean, I think that was kind of the cool thing when you and Savon were doing shows together. You had the best of both worlds. Someone that you're really good at the history and learning more about the athlete, and Savon's really good about getting some stuff out on them. But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring some athletes on, have them tell their stories, not us tell the stories for them, but hearing it from their version. I think we've done that with
and
Paige.
even just like if you just look at a leaderboard and you see Henrik Haapalainen 18th, 24th, 24th, you can make these assumptions, and you can say, oh well, he's only getting worse relative to the field. But you listen to the detail of what he tells about that Olympic total. If he ends up either hitting that lift or playing, if he just makes the cut, those last 3 workouts on the last day actually were great for him.
Really good.
He may end up finishing 15th and have his best year yet. And we might be telling a totally different story. And I think that it's easy to lose sight of how small those differences can be in competition. And like, I didn't know that about where his mindset was at and how he was evaluating the field in that competition, because things happen so fast during the games. And then you forget about it. The storylines are even that BKG did nothing because he was hurt, that Jack Farlow won it, but he's cut anyway, or that, what's the podium race look like?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what we're trying to get. I mean, and conversely, our interview with Paige yesterday, she's one of those athletes that gotten better every year. And then, kind of diving in how she got to that point, especially last year when she was like, it wasn't her mentally and probably physically not her strongest year because she was dealing with a back injury and just where her mind was at. But yeah, it was her best finish, and how she got to those results. And I think basically it came down to what she was saying is that she's a competitor, and that's what we're trying to get. And especially these athletes you're not hearing much of, and that's what we're trying to bring. I mean, me and Brian were discussing this, about some of these other athletes. I mean, we could always grab like the, Patrick Vellner's, Fikowski, but I mean, what are we going to learn from them that we don't know already, or they haven't said? It's someone else's time, and it's not saying we're not going to have athletes like them on in the next 5 weeks.
I don't know if it's someone else's time to beat those guys yet, but it gives you a different opportunity when you see the name Henrik Haapalainen to cue in on, oh, this is a guy who, if there's some upper body pulling and machine work, might be able to put up a really competitive score. He's had some decent showings in some swimming workouts. He's been, he talked about, just like how Vellner did early in his career, he just put in the work on the squatting because he wasn't strong enough. And, that's the case for a lot of people in CrossFit. And so you can kind of look and see if he happens to do well on a workout with some squatting, like this, semifinal event too this year, that's not something that came easy to him. And you have a different appreciation for how he got to be that good at that movement or that skill.
Yeah. And I mean, we started off with two veterans of the sport who've been there, and they're and then now we're ending the week with two young rookie athletes who, I think it's going to be really cool when you look back at the totality of what we're doing here. Not saying that no one else has done this before. I mean, we talk about Scott Schweitzer has done this. He's been amazing by doing this, especially when it comes to semifinal athletes, especially U.S. athletes. We're trying to expand that outside the U.S. and give a little bit more attention to some of these European athletes. And I mean, yeah, we're going to try to reach out the Africa winners, the Asia winners as well. That's what we're trying to do here. But I think it's just going to be really cool when you look at the totality of it, where you see where different athletes, their points of views, and who knows, maybe there's a young athlete at this and they gain some knowledge about this, about being a professional, especially when you hear something from someone like Paige, who obviously is mentoring a lot of teenage athletes, and then you hear something from like maybe Amy Kringle or Harry Lightfoot, where they talk about their experiences coming up. So yeah. Oh yeah. We have a list. We have a long list, and we got 5 weeks to do it. There's going to be some athletes we're not going to be able to get on, and it doesn't mean other people aren't going to have them on at some point. I know Sevon is gearing up to grab some people. I know Scott's doing it. I mean, Peter is Coffee Pods and Wads. I mean, everyone's going to have it. So,
I'm really liking that show that Peter's doing, the Strictly Press.
Yeah.
If you guys don't watch that one, it's they're like quick hitters. I mean, he pre-records the interviews and then he cuts them up. He usually gets 3 people at a time. He just had Boz, Facundo, and Steve Fawcett from HWPO that he dropped this morning in the States. And, those are like 20, 25 minutes, pretty quickly digestible. He asks some good questions. And you get to hear from, some different personalities besides the athletes that are still instrumental in the sport. So that's a pretty cool thing that he's doing too.
Yeah. I really like being a press conference. And I mean, his wordplay on that, the athletes, and he's built up a really good relationship with a lot of those coaches. And I think it's been really cool. And bravo on that. Definitely watch it.
Yeah. Facundo will never skip the South America semifinal. No. So that's his darling, he would probably say. That's where he has actually a ton of athletes and friends. So he's always going to go there. But yeah, it's always great to see him.
And he's not going to say no to a good Brazilian steakhouse, if you know Facundo. That guy, Facundo is, I trust that guy when it comes to food too. So, but cool. Well, great show. It was awesome having Henrik on. It was just really cool. Like I said, I've got to know him a lot, pretty well over the years, just being on that thing. But we got, I need to get a workout in. So that way I can justify using my relief stick instead of just putting on there because I think I'm sore. But use Friend 20% off HCR CBD products. So I want to thank them. And it's pretty cool stuff.
You have to have a special closing for today, though.
Why?
You got anything else?
I don't.
Okay. Then for all the Finnish people that end up tuning in, kiitos.
Ooh.
And as always, be friendly, our friends.